If you're an online coach trying to scale your coaching business to 10 or 15K per month, one of the most valuable things in your life is having time. And if you're spending all day in the DMs booking appointments, then unfortunately, you are going to become very time poor. And the whole point of building an online coaching business is so that you have more freedom to travel the world, spend time at home with your family, and do as you please, right? You didn't become an online coach to sit all day on the laptop. So I want to talk to you about how to train an appointment setter so you can actually scale your coaching business without you having to sit down on the laptop all day. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a high level training. So if you're just starting out, this won't make sense. But if you're a bit more advanced, you've got clients, you've got leads, and you understand how to get calls booked, this is important. Now, you might be wondering, how much is it going to cost you? I'll go through that. Where can you find them? I'll go through that. How to hire them? I'll go through that. But the most important factor here is that this does not work unless you have a proven system that you use to get calls booked, whether you're using Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, YouTube ads, or you're using organic DMs through Instagram. But this particular video, I'm going to talk about Instagram because that's kind of the easiest way to get started. So if you're booking calls every week through Instagram DMs, you know the game. Maybe 50% are responding and 10% are turning into booked calls. That's a good ratio. So if you've got a clear DM setting process, this is going to work, because people who are trying to build online coaching business, they get a little bit stuck because what they do is they delegate way too fast. But you can't delegate until you've proven that you know how to book 3, 4, 5 sales calls every single week. To be honest, we should be aiming for 10, but let's just imagine you hit that number. Then you can delegate, because then when you delegate, you can take on more volume, more sales calls, everything like that. So let's get into it. So essentially, we've got to start with the hiring process. So I'm going to share my screen and show you a little bit about how we kind of delegate and manage the hiring process to make sure that we get the best leads. I'm going to show you my job posts. I'm going to show you where I would put these job posts, and that way you can understand the process. So let me just get my Loom up and then let's get straight into it. The very first place that I personally would go with is Upwork. Upwork is not the best, but it does the job and you get a good variety of people. So I just want to walk you through what my job post actually looks like so you can see. And if you want this job post, I mean, you could just copy this, you could screenshot it. So Upwork, boom, hiring, lead generation specialist. And you need to just basically explain the job description, like what's actually taking place, get into the details of it. So that way, you know, you get the best of the best. And then what you want to do is just detail the responsibilities and the requirements. What do they have to be able to actually get into this job, and then how many hours, days that they're going to work, is training provided, etc., etc. And then what I used to do is actually I would add in some type of qualifier, because when you do put out these jobs, you're going to get loads of applicants. So I would usually throw them some type of curveball, and it will be like, to show that you're competent, you need to find me on Instagram. My name is Javen Palmer, and they'd have to go and search and find me on Instagram and then DM me. Or to show you're competent, send an email to this email address with the subject line ready. That way, I'm giving the people a little bit of a hoop to jump through. So I'm not getting like absolute jokers. This same job post, I'd put it on LinkedIn and Indeed. And if I wanted to spend a bit of money, I would use Online Jobs PH. So those are the 4 places you should start putting ads out if you want to get an appointment setter. Now, the next thing is to now look at actually what happens when you get them in the business. Now, I like to keep things simple. Personally, I would train them every day for half an hour for the first 2 weeks. I'm going to be honest with you. It's a bit intense. In my opinion, what it does is it gets them up to speed very quickly, make sure that they really understand the role, and it's not that much time. After a while, you record those trainings. So that way, if you lose that person, you get someone else on board. You maybe only have to do it 2 or 3 times a week, and you can send them the recordings from the other trainings. So now we've set up their SOPs, and this is another part of the process that, you know, is going to help you save time in the future. So I was heavy on LinkedIn and Go High Level. So resources, I would have all my DM scripts in one place. So if I come in here, they can see exactly what to do, all the different scenarios, such as openers and hooks, overall sales flow, follow-up messages, you know, how to message people that have voted on our polls, etc., etc. You need this level of detail. The next thing is all my login details. I showed them the CRM system, my content calendar, my giveaway links. Then I had a full video step by step showing them everything that I want them to do while working for me. I'm not going to be able to show that to you today. And then all my previous polls that I did on LinkedIn that we were talking to. This is after someone's already like agreed to work with me. I've given them a contract, stuff like that. So the next thing is kind of giving them a deep understanding of what our business is and how it works and how we operate. So I just kind of explain the Spectrum Fit brand, how I coach people, you know, how I talk in the DMs. I try to give them a bit of an understanding. And then I move into my ideal client avatar. This is important that they understand this, because if they don't understand this, they are going to be sending DMs to anybody, and we don't want that. So what do we do to save ourselves that kind of issue? Essentially, I explained who my ideal client avatar is. So it was men 25 to 60. I preferred former athletes or retired athletes, or people that have at least been in shape in the past. Corporate jobs, high level jobs, UK, USA, Canada, Dubai only. Maybe they have a family and they play college sports in the States or professional sports in the UK, and they've been active on the platform in the last 30 to 60 days. Check their last post. This is very, very important, because now it's so clear who I'm targeting that if my virtual assistant, my appointment setter goes off course, I can be like, yo, didn't you just watch the training that I did about this? Okay. So it kind of helps you keep them on course. Now, rules of engagement. This is important because your appointment setters will F this up sometimes. I would make sure they stuck to kind of how I would talk, and it has to be very genuine, very friendly, because everyone can spot when it's not a person, like when it's like a robot and there's someone sending these funky DMs and stuff. So it's quite simple. I would say stuff like this. Never send big blocky paragraphs. I don't talk like that in the DMs. So I don't want you to do that for me. Just keep it nice and short responses, quick responses. Always acknowledge what someone has said before responding. Example, someone mentions they just had a baby, they're not working at the moment. You would say, I totally get that. Congrats on the newborn. So I'm giving them a live example, because I've had appointment setters, where someone says, look, I literally just died yesterday. And they'll be like, okay, so how much money do you make? But wow, you got to acknowledge what they said. So it's important you do that. Never send the same question 2 times in a row, because it looks like you didn't listen. Check the history of the chat to see what stage we're in, and then show awareness. We don't spam. We don't send random messages. We don't do cold DMs. We show a genuine interest in each individual, okay? And then check their personal profile, say something personal, show you care. You would think that DMing is mad difficult, but it's really that simple. That kind of outlines some of the rules that I like to kind of make my appointment setters understand. Then it's the performance targets. So I'm quite strict with this, but if you fall below these targets 2 weeks in a row, I do have to consider the position, because I need sales for my business to keep thriving. So below average would be 4 calls a week. Good would be 6 calls a week. Very good, 8 calls a week. Excellent, 10 calls a week. This is for organic traffic, so we're not even running ads here. Then their actual day-to-day. All they got to do is announce their start time in Slack. They got to clear all the unread messages. They got to schedule their content. They got to do 30 follow-up messages. They have to message 45 people that have voted on my polls. They got to message 30 people that have viewed my profile. And they got to add these to my CRM system. They got to clear out my sales navigator. They got to clear inbox to finish the shift, and then send me an end of day report in Slack. End of day report is very simple. You know, their name, how many new conversations do they start, how many inbound convos, how many follow-ups, blah, blah, blah. You can see it all here. This is important because I need this to track data so we can see what's working and what's not working. So when you hire an appointment setter, this is basically the key to success. This is the key to growing and scaling an online coaching business to 10 and 15K. Although I'm showing it for LinkedIn, the same thing applies for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, I guess. And you can see here, I've got a Facebook training on how to grow my Facebook, how many messages and reporting numbers. So the next thing you need to kind of understand here is that I've got videos of everything. Why? Because like I said, if I lose a member of staff, I need to train the next person very quickly. I can't do live trainings with them every day, all the time. So now that I've got a system here, I can just record the trainings and send them to the next person that ends up being a member of staff. That way, the onboarding process is a lot smoother. This is pretty much how you can grow and scale your online coaching business using appointment setters and filling up your diary. Obviously, not everyone's going to be ready to do this, but if you're making good money online, it's time to reinvest in your business. Yes, it's scary. You might be worried about them logging into your account, all that kind of stuff, but you can get people that are trained to do this, and there's not much to be worried about. So my advice is, think about hiring somebody so that you can actually scale, because you can't scale if you're doing everything by yourself. It's a mentality shift that you have to make. All right. So, online coaches, let's get to work. If you want this actual SOP, drop me a DM on Instagram. I've left my IG page in the description. Drop me a DM with the word SOPs and I will send this actual SOP over to you. I will have to remove some of the links and the data, but I will send it over to you. All right. Hopefully you found this useful. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to book more calls using LinkedIn, just watch this video right here.